Greetings, everyone. My name is Sanjiv Venkatram, and welcome to another edition of User Delight with Microsoft Technology. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about something fairly common that folks using Power Apps and SharePoint face, and that is to restrict site access to the SharePoint list while actually allowing people to enter information or do CRUD operations from Power Apps. The fundamental point is, as can be seen on the screen, the user will be able to do full CRUD operations from Power Apps. However, when they get hold of the site URL accidentally, they will be faced with a SharePoint message that says that they need access to the list. Let's head on over to SharePoint and Power Apps to see more. Thank you very much. Right. So we are on office.com here, the Office portal, and we go to the 9 dots here and go to SharePoint. So the idea here is to actually create a site. And in order for us to actually do this, we need to have administrative permissions. So we click on Create Site up here on the top left, then go ahead and create a team site, use a standard template, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to say custom SharePoint permissions. It's going to be the site. And we will click on next, make this a public site. And then let's go ahead and create the site. I'm going to go add Adele as the member of this site and finish this. So this goes ahead and creates our custom, SharePoint permission site. And this is where we're actually going to have the transaction tables and the master tables on which our Power Apps is built. So the idea is that the SharePoint list that is created here is only accessible to the administrators and not to the end users. Now, if the users but the users can do the full CRUD operations. So they'll be able to create entries, they'll be able to save and view the entries, they'll be able to edit the entries and delete the entries. However, only from Power Apps. If they were by any chance were to get hold of the list or the site URL and they get here, SharePoint's going to say, kindly request access, and you don't have access. So thereby, they will not be able to view or edit the records here and accidentally, let us say, delete records or in a more serious note, go in and actually make changes to the status, right? So all of that will be available on Power Apps, and their entire data entry, viewing, and editing is all going to be on Power Apps. Okay, so with this as the background, so we've got our SharePoint site, and again, you need to have administrative access. We are going to go over to site permissions. And then we're going to go to advanced permission settings. And this is where, once again, you need to have administrative access to the site. And we are going to go over to permission levels. And once we go to permission levels, you will see the contribute permission, which can view, add, update, and delete lists and documents, right? So we'll click on this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and we're going to copy permission level. So once we copy the permission level, this goes away and asks us to, create a new permission. So I'm going to actually say custom contribute role, right? Custom contribute role. And then what I'm going to do here is there is one here that says, one of the permissions here that says view application pages, which allows the users to view the forms, views, and application pages. I am going to actually unclick this, right? So then the rest remain the same, and then we go create this permission. So now we have actually enabled this custom contribute permission, which allows people to do the CRUD operation. However, if they go into the SharePoint site itself, it's going to say, hey, look, you don't have access, right? So now we need to assign this role to Adele, who is a member of the site. So I'm going to go back to permissions here. and I am going to grant permissions to users. In fact, what I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to go click on custom SharePoint permissions over here. And then I'm going to actually go ahead and go to the custom permission members here. And then this seems okay. Let me get back here. I just want to make sure that we don't have edit full control. No, it's just edit control here. Let me go do this. Everyone except, so I'm going to actually delete this setting. It says everyone except external users. So let me actually see here. I can remove users from this group, right? Because I'm going to be giving custom permissions to Adele and the rest of the members. So I'm going to remove this one. And then this one too, custom SharePoint permission members, I'm going to actually remove this as well. So essentially, there won't be any items in this SharePoint, custom SharePoint members. Okay, so that's that. And I'm going to go back here to, I am going to go back here to the custom permissions. Well, I need to head back to settings here first. Settings and go back to site permissions. Oops. Discard and then advanced site permissions. Okay. So I'm going to go back up here. So there is nobody in this custom site permission members. There are no permissions inside this, right? Now I can grant permissions and I'm going to actually invite Adele, ADELE, Adele fans. And then if I show permissions here, I am going to say custom contribute role to this person. I'm going to actually like not send her an email, but I'm going to say custom contribute role, and then I'm going to share this. Now, clearly, I'm not going to let Adele know as to where the data is saved. All she needs to do is to use the app. She should not know where the data is being stored, right? And so I've set this up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to the site, right, to the SharePoint site. So let me click on home here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a simple table and a simple app on top of it, right? So I'm going to go to new list here. I'm going to actually say master country, and then I'm going to go ahead and create this list. And as you can see, Adele is a member of this site, and she's a member of this list as well. She'll have access to the list. However, I won't tell her that, she will be accessing the information through Power Apps, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to edit in grid view here. I'm just going to say add a few countries, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, and I'll leave it here for now. So exit grid view. So I've got these three data points here. Now I'm going to go over to my Power Apps, and what I'm going to do here is to create a simple Canvas app, right? So I'm going to say custom SharePoint point, POINT, permissions app. And then I'm going to create this. And then what I'm going to do now is to create a very simple Canvas application. So it takes about a minute or so for the, yeah, there you go. So I'm going to say add data from SharePoint and like so, and our site should be here. Well, it doesn't show. So let us actually go over and then get this site URL, and I'm going to go paste it, connect to it, master country, connect. So there you go. So I've been able to connect to this. I'm going to basically look at a table, data table here, and then bring it down like so, real quick. And then I'm going to basically say master country. So this goes ahead and connects to the master country. And I'm going to basically go ahead and remove attachments here, right? And maybe add ID. So there you go. And I've got the ID and the title. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a form on the right-hand side like so, just so that we'll be able to enter information and, if need be, edited, deleted, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to basically connect it to the data source. So now master country is connected, and I'll make this a new form so that, and I'm going to remove this content type because we don't need this. All we're going to do is just enter new information and edit, I suppose. So I'm going to basically go ahead and go to the item property, data table, data table one dot selected, right? So, and I'm going to make this, a different color, maybe something like that. Okay. Now I'm going to insert a button here. I'm going to say button so that I'll be able to go add information, and on select submit form and form one and reset form one. Okay. And then I'm just going to say save info here. And I'm going to go click on the form and make, it is a new form anyway. So if I were to play this app and say Indonesia, and then save this, and then this goes ahead and then adds this information here. Okay, so we are good to go. Simple little app. And what I'm going to do now is to share this app with Adele, right? So I'm going to publish this, save it and publish it. And publish this information. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share this information with Adele, right? So there's Adele. And then I'm going to basically say manage access. So, if I were to pending invites Adele, and Adele's just going to be a user. She's not going to be an owner, right? So there you go. Pending invite Adele. And I am just going to share this app with her. Okay. So share. So this app, no pending invite. Adele access was updated. Fantastic. So she will have access to this app. So now I'm going to log in as Adele. And before I do that, I'm just going to get organized a little bit and go over to my authenticator so that I'll be able to authenticate her in, right? And if I were to go over, let me actually go to my admin center and just get her email address. Okay, go to active users, and there is Adele. So I'm going to go ahead and grab her email ID real quick. So that is their email ID. Fantastic. Control C. And now I'm going to go over to an in private window, go to office.com, and then sign in with Adele's email ID. Enter a password, and this is going to send me an authenticator request. Wonderful. And so I am going to sign in and say, fine, stay signed in. So this is going to go ahead to office.com, and it's going to basically sign her in. And then I'm going to go over to, let us say, Power Automate. That's fine. From Power Automate, I can make my way over to Power Apps, and I'm going to go over to Power Apps. And then if I were to go to Power Apps, I should be, since I'm logged in here as Adele, it says, app was shared with you. If I were to say open app here, this goes ahead and loads the app. And then I'll say allow. So she should be able to see the data. It's loading. Yes, she's able to save the data, right? And let us say she goes in and adds the US as a country, save this information, and lo and behold, US is in, right? Now, by any chance, if I were to go over to my, I'm here not as Adele, right? I'm here as the administrator who designed the app and has shared it with Adele. And if I were to go here and then I'm going to refresh this, just make sure that all entries are here. Yeah, it is. I'm going to select this, and this is the scenario, right? So let us say accidentally someone actually shares this list, right, with Adele. So she's going to go over here, and then she's going to go up to the address bar and enter this URL and hit enter. This goes away and basically says, hey, I'm really sorry, Adele, you need permission to access this list, even though she's able to go in and actually enter data through the app, right? You saw this. She's able to enter the US information here. However, if she goes over to SharePoint, it basically says, hey, I'm terribly sorry, you will need access to this site and to this list, and you won't be able to, she won't be able to see the data, edit the data from SharePoint. I trust it suffices in knowing how to design permissions to end users as an administrator in such a way as to force them to use Power Apps to do the data entry and editing and so on and so forth, and not know or have access to the underlying SharePoint list. Okay? Even though they're able to do the CRUD operation to the SharePoint list. So my broadly guidance to you would be kindly don't let the permission know of which list the data is being, stored in. That's paramount. And to design this permission so that in the odd chance that, the person actually gets to know the URL, if they go into SharePoint, they won't be able to see the list, and it says you need permission. Okay, with this, thank you very much, and here's wishing you the best.